You ever have one of those moments where the whole room just stops and looks at you not because of something you did wrong, but because you simply exist in a way people didn't expect? That's how this story starts. Jasmine Carter walked onto that plane with the kind of quiet confidence you only earn after 1,000 hard days, holding her little boy's hand, eyes shining with excitement is not hers, because Jasmine had been here before in rooms where she didn't quite fit the story people had written in their heads. It was first class, and some folks acted like the carpet was wider up front. She felt the stares soft, questioning, the way people do when something doesn't match the picture they had in mind. And sure, she could have let it slide, could have just smiled and found her seat. But you know what? Life doesn't always give you a choice about when to stand up and say what needs to be said. They hadn't even taken off yet when a woman across the aisle, perfect hair, pearls, all that, leaned over and gave Jasmine one of those tight smiles, the kind that makes you brace for what comes next. She said, "Is his mother joining us later?" And, you could feel the whole cabin freeze. You ever see a conversation go off like a firecracker in a quiet church? That's what it felt like. Everybody's mouth snapped shut. People glanced up from their tablets, waiting to see what would happen, hoping it wouldn't be awkward, but knowing it already was. Jasmine could have laughed, maybe brushed it off, but instead, she looked that woman right in the eye, and before she could even answer, the lady doubled down. "He's just adorable." How long have you been with the family? The kind of question that lands like a slap you're supposed to pretend didn't sting. Jasmine had heard it all before: the doubts, the assumptions, the subtle ways people say, "You don't belong here," without actually saying it. But this time, something inside her just broke loose. She looked down at Malik, her son, totally oblivious, working a granola bar with that pure focus only little kids have, and she thought, not this time, not in front of my child. The flight attendant did a quick lap, checking seat belts, probably feeling the tension, but not quite sure what caused it. Malik asked if he could look out the window, and Jasmine helped him lean over, never breaking eye contact with the woman across the aisle. There was this hush in the air, like everyone was holding their breath. Now, here's the twist nobody saw coming. The woman's phone buzzed, and she glanced down, maybe to escape the awkwardness, but suddenly her whole face changed. She was looking at an article, and right there, headline and all, "Top Black Executive Keynote Speaker Inspires Thousands," with a photo of Jasmine on stage, Malik by her side, both grinning like they just won the world. The woman went pale, fumbling with her phone, clearly realizing she just tried to put Jasmine in a box she didn't fit in. The box had burst open in her face. Just then, from behind, a man in a sharp suit leaned forward and said quietly, "Excuse me, are you Jasmine Carter?" Jasmine turned, calm as ever, nodded. "I was at the conference. Your talk on brand storytelling, powerful stuff. And your son, he was great up there." Now the whole cabin was tuned in, people shifting, side eyes flying everywhere, that feeling like something important was about to happen. Jasmine still hadn't spoken to the woman across the aisle. It was as if the entire flight was waiting for her answer, not just to a question, but to years of assumptions. She finally turned, her voice steady but carrying a weight that you could feel from 3 rows away. "You asked how long I've been with the family. The answer is since I gave birth to him." The words just hung there. The woman's mouth opened, maybe to apologize, maybe to defend herself, but nothing came out. Silence, heavy, uncomfortable, but also honest. And then, from somewhere up front, a gentle clap started. One person, then another. Soon it was a ripple of soft applause moving through the cabin, not loud, not wild, but enough to say, "We see you." Jasmine didn't stand up, didn't make a speech, just rested her hand on Malik's shoulder, her chin up, her eyes dry. Then came the moment nobody expected. Malik tugged at her sleeve, looking up at her, and said, "Mom, can I tell them?" Jasmine blinked, a little thrown. "Tell them what, baby?" He held up his lanyard from the conference. "That I was the junior keynote guest." The tension cracked, a few people chuckled, and you could feel the whole mood shift from stiff and awkward to almost warm. But before it could settle, another twisty young flight attendant stepped out from the galley, her voice a little shaky. "Ms. Carter, my daughter was in the audience at your talks 10. She told me after, She wants to be just like you. You could hear the honesty in her voice. And suddenly, it wasn't about Jasmine having to prove anything. It was about what she meant to people she'd never even met. The woman across the aisle just sat there, silent, her face a mix of regret and reflection. Sometimes the best apology is the one that doesn't get spoken out loud. The engines roared up, the plane lifted off, and with it, the whole room seemed to breathe again. Jasmine leaned back, finally relaxed, wrapping her arm around Malik. She didn't need to say a word. Every glance, every awkward smile, every half-hidden stare had changed. People looked at her not with doubt, but with a kind of quiet respect. By the time they landed, people who'd barely made eye contact before were smiling, nodding, a few even offered handshakes. Malik waved his lanyard like a badge of honor, proud of his mom, proud of himself, proud just to be seen. The woman across the aisle never said another word, but her eyes were softer, maybe a little wiser. Sometimes a whole room changes because one person refuses to shrink for someone else's comfort. You know, it's funny, sometimes the most powerful moments happen not with a shout, but with a calm answer that slices through years of noise. Jasmine didn't just stand up for herself, she stood up for every woman, every mother, every person who's ever been doubted because of what they look like or where they're sitting. And that day, first class felt a little bigger, a little kinder, and a whole lot more honest. So let me ask you, if you saw something like this, would you speak up or stay quiet? When someone gets boxed in by assumptions, do you clap, look away, or do you say something? Share your thoughts below. Let's talk about what real respect and justice look like, even 30,000 feet in the air.